Peace. So I got a comment the other day on my Instagram, and I felt that it would behoove me not to answer the question that somebody posed, because honestly, hadn't really even thought about it until it was positioned to me, and it kind of opened my eyes to something. The question was, I'll rephrase. The question was, having all of that vintage gear that you have, because, I have an MPC 3000, I have an SP 1200, I've got a 4000, I've got a 1000, and then I've got some newer machines too, got several SP 404s and 303s and 6, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the question was, having all of that vintage gear, do you ever find yourself in creative blocks because you've got too many things to work on? And it took me a second to register that, because at first I was like, are they taking a shot at me? No, they were not. They were just posing a question that I hadn't even thought of. And yeah, that's a problem. It is a problem. Because I came up in an era where, like, the 3000 was the machine of all machines, right? So psychologically, that's the machine you feel like you need to be doing everything on, right? Like that's the machine that tons of hits have been made off of. Same thing with the SP 1200, and you find yourself going down this rabbit hole of trying to justify the machines that you're working on because that's what all the greats were made off of. When the reality is that my 2024 is already booked all the way through. I have multiple projects that I'm working on, and my workflow, I can't just sit in front of a machine for 2, 3, 4 hours working on one beat. There are days when I want to do that, but when I'm working on a project with a specific artist, rapper, MC, whatever, I start getting ideas in my head and I need to get them out. I feel like we've been in a world where we have been like, you're cheapening the art form by doing things this way, and you're not respecting the workflow. But I feel like a lot of those arguments are just, I don't feel like they're relevant, and that's not to disrespect or dismiss anyone that refuses to participate in the newer machines, because, I totally get it. Like the 3000, that machine has a sound. If you have a 3000, you know what I'm talking about. The 4000 has a sound. The SP 1200, duh, that one has a sound, right? But we can't, let me rephrase that. I can't sit around for 3 or 4 hours working on one track. I've got things I've got to get done. And the new machines allow me to do that. And that's why you'll see me working on the Live 2 or the MPC X SE a lot. Because I'm able to sit in front of those machines and chop, 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 chop. I can think of something and I can immediately get it done in one of these machines. Whereas the 3000, I can get around on it and chop around on it and everything, but even the smallest thing slows me down on that machine. Having to go through, and now if you had floppies, this would not be a problem, but the new machines, the machines as of they are now, when you have like an SD card reader in them, you have to label every single sample that you're making. So let's say you have a sample and you chop it up 17 times, 18 times. You have to go through and name every single one of those files. And I don't know if you're aware, but the keyboard function on the 3000 is insane. Google that real quick. Google up keyboard MPC 3000 and see how you have to type in things on the 3000. And that's a minuscule thing, but time is relative, and time is what we don't have a lot of. making music it's not a hobby for me, but it is something that I don't have all day to do. So with that being said, I embrace the workflow of the bigger machines. Tying that all the way back to the 3000, the 4000, and all my vintage gear, the 1000, having the older machines and being caught up in the nostalgia of them absolutely get in the way. 100%. 100% gets in the way. Because, and it's all psychological. It's all psychological. If you were to go back and listen to my the album, the project I just put out with Red Inf, I guarantee you can't tell me which songs were made on what. There's one particular record you can tell was made on an SP1200. The rest of them, there was 3 different machines used on that record. 3. And I guarantee you can't tell which one's which. That's just the way it is. So, moving forward, if I get an itch to work on my 4000, I'm just going to work on the 4000. If I get an itch to work on my 3000, I'm going to work on my 3000. But for me personally, with the amount of work I've got to get done, I sometimes have to set boundaries on myself. Like, if this beat is going to take 4 or 5 hours, something that would take me 30 minutes on another machine, I think we kind of have an answer there for, you know what I'm saying? It gets in the way, yeah. It gets in the way. Having too many things. And that's address the elephant in the room. Why do you have so many machines? Because when I was first starting off in this music business, I had a 2000 XL, and I used that thing forever. And I wanted the 4000 when it came out. I wanted a 3000. Man, I couldn't justify it. I didn't have the funds. I didn't have didn't have the ability to get those type of things. And now, several years later, I do have success in that field. And so I told myself that I would learn the machines that, people that I looked up to used. Yeah. There it is. It's a little bit of piece of why I do things the way I do.